it is reported Braun wants max money next season. He has on the table a player option of $51.4 million. Currently, AD's contract is set up is 42 million coming up and then 43 million after that year. If LeBron does want the max, I will say this. If LeBron wants the max, LeBron is never winning a ring again before he retires. Just call it quits. It's not another ring happening. Get your bag if that's what you want. But don't think you're going to win a ring if he takes that max next year. When I ask y'all, should Braun and the Lakers go for the bag or should they try to get another ring?
It's a low. That is such a leading question. Is crazy, yo. Oh my God. I, I think I think with the Lakers, it's a tough situation because LeBron's obviously your best player on the roster right now, and he shouldn't be. It should be Anthony Davis, but it's not, and that's the real problem. So if you want to blame anybody for the fact that they may not win another championship ever again, you want to blame Anthony Davis for that. Blame him for the fact that the Lakers may be looking at a future where they don't win a championship in LeBron's window. I think that's the guy to blame. But you know, I'm never going to begrudge anybody for wanting to chase money. I know LeBron obviously is a billionaire, so you can be like, why you need a max contract. I understand that. He's trying to get his market value because I think if he was on the open market right now, he'd get a max deal from another team. I think he would. Um, but I think it all just depends on if the Lakers are able to pull off a trade for a young point guard or a good ascending guard in the NBA to come to the roster like a Donovan Mitchell, and I don't see that being very likely. Or Trey Young, we'll see if they can pull off a trade like that for one of those players. I think Trey Young is a lot more likely because we know the Hawks like Austin Reeves. Um, so you already have pieces and along with the draft capital to package for a guy like Trey Young to come on board. If they can do that, and you can have Trey Young and LeBron and AD playing together, then who knows? He got gets a max deal, but you still might get a chance to win a championship with that team and the construction of that team. As long as you can keep some good defenders around, because we know that Trey Young is just a walking turnstile for other teams. But I do think the Lakers have a chance to compete if they can make that trade. If they do not make a trade and do not get better in any real way, and do not add a guard, and their problem is clearly at point guard in terms of their ability to score. Just they're not dynamic enough offensively. And D'Angelo Russell, as confident as he is, and for all the great quotes he gives us, he's not dynamic enough as an offensive player. He just is not. When you need a big bucket, he's nowhere to be found, and it's been tough. I think he's had some moments, he's flashed, but obviously we know he's not a player offensively that Trey Young is, not even close. So um, I just think that's the move for them. I think it's all in, it's all or nothing there. And if they don't get one of those guys, via trade, then the way I see it is you pay him anyways because look, he came and took your team out of irrelevance. You guys weren't good. They had nobody. We're talking about Robert Zachary. We're talking about early Lonzo Ball, just not a good team, and there was no real vision for it. Obviously, they had the young guys they could have developed over time, and they would have eventually been good because we know Ingram and all those guys were good. They turned into players. Kuzma, all them dudes, right? Randall, all of them. So yeah, there was a way forward,
You
but
ain't have to mention
right,
Rondo. That one worked out, but go ahead.
we know that's right. But um, with the Lakers, I just feel like you pay him, but if he may not want to come back if you guys don't make a move anyways. We'll see what happens. Like, I think this is a very interesting summer. I think everyone's kind of resigned to the fact that LeBron wants to be near his family in LA because he built a compound out there and all that stuff. But if they don't make a move to make themselves an actual championship contender, I don't think it's far fetched to think he goes somewhere else. We might get us a curveball this summer. We really might. We know the Warriors are lurking. We know Steph and Brown would like to play together. I think there's smoke there. I don't know. I don't know anything, but I just feel like there is. So we just got to keep our eye out for this. Like we have to see if the Lakers to make a big move, and then Lakers fans don't have to worry about him getting a big contract because then he won't be there anymore, and we'll see how that goes for them. you know. So I think life with Bron is better than life without him. But I also understand the concern of paying a guy who's aging and older. But let's be real, this guy's aging. This guy's aging like wine. he's gonna average 25, 5 and 7 or whatever it is next year again. He's just that good. He's gonna finish his year strong. We ain't talk about Michael Jordan, who aged like rotten cheese. We're talking about LeBron James. So if you want to pay the guy, you'd be justified in doing so. But I understand the concern. I just feel like if you want to talk about the problem with the Lakers and why they're not going to win an NBA championship, you should really look at the guy with the unibrow and not LeBron James. That's what don't that's just my advice. That's me. But
Miles,
who knows?
before you go, right? I set that up asking the question, but I wholeheartedly believe and know that they will pay him because
They're gonna
that's
pay
the
him.
MO of the Lakers. The Lakers
Yeah,
love paying agent stars because they think it's back in the 70s and they want to show all the other stars around that we take care of our stars. So LeBron, if he wants 60 million next year, he's going to get it. LeBron's going to get his money. They did it with Kobe. They did it with other players before that. So he'll get his money, but if he gets his money, 50 million or more, that right there alone, you have 101 million possibly tied up between him and the Brow, just them two right there, which doesn't leave
yeah.
much room for roster construction outside of that. What you think, Miles?
I honestly would like for them not to extend the contract to him. I mean, I feel like at some point you gotta kind of move on. Like, sure, he won a chip. He did that. At least he can say he won a chip in LA. But like the injuries, I mean, he's been pretty healthy this year, but the injuries have kind of, you know, been building up the last few years. This team is not exactly the, toast of the West. Sure, they made it to the conference finals last year, but he's only getting older. I just don't see it. I just think they should start preparing for the next chapter in Lakers history, which this was a great ride. He got us a chip, but we can't be held hostage. Like it feels like he's Suge Knight over there because he's able to make demands behind the scenes, whether that's through Rich Paul or through the media with his passive aggressive quotes that he'll put out there. Um, but yeah, I feel like they've got to kind of get younger a little bit. Not to say that like Bron is aging terribly. Like he's playing great. Like I don't think there's ever been a 39-year-old putting up the numbers that he's putting up. But at the same time, they're not winning. They're not, really competing in the Western Conference to the point of giving Bron that 55, 60 million a year contract that he might be up for. I mean, who knows? He'll probably make an all NBA team, which that adds even more money to his next deal. Um, and if winning was, you know, truly what he was worried about, then he would take less money. But at this point, like it's about his brand, it's about staying in LA. I don't think he really cares if he wins another championship or not. That's my opinion. I feel like if he did, then there'd be less money in his pockets and more kind of used to pay some better players to come in. Like sure, D'Lo, that was a deal. That was a nice deal that they did. Um, but could they have spent that money in free agency, or could they maybe at some point use those contracts to get a bigger star? I just don't know. Because then if they do get that bigger star and they trade,
Speak on it, Miles.
if they trade Reeves, if they trade like Reeves is like a real good building piece that you need on your team, and you're gonna tell me that like Trey Young is the guy who's gonna come in and help me win a championship. I don't see Trey Young being that type of guy. I just like he had that magical run and then never had it again. Never had it again. It's been like 3-4 years since that magical playoff run where he's knocking off that was when Ben Simmons was afraid to shoot. That's how long ago it was. I think COVID was we didn't even have a vaccine. So you're expecting this guy to and is Brown gonna let him run the point? How is that even
Oh
gonna work?
God, yo, that's
It's
crazy.
it's what
That's a crazy thing to say. Yo, here, I want to say two things because I think both things are things that people wouldn't consider. If LeBron leaves, they don't have any draft picks. How are they getting younger? You're gonna go in free agency and put all your chips in the free agency and go pay young guys. I don't know what great young guys hit the market like that you're gonna go pay to be a Laker. Now there are gonna be some good classes coming up for sure, but I just find that to be an interesting thought that like when you talk about team building, you usually do it through the draft mainly. Free agency can help you out in the NBA. It just depends on if guys will want to come. So I get that, but this idea that your best player, he's still your best player, unequivocally. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Should take less when you paid someone who's underperforming, and Anthony Davis, who consistently underperforms, gets bullied by Sabonis and all that stuff. And now LeBron's the focal point because he wants money, because he wants his money. Now he's the focal point. He's the bane of your existence as a Laker. I just don't get that part. Like that part's not computing for me. It doesn't make sense. He makes 40 million. Anthony Davis makes $40+ million a year, and he can't beat it. He can't beat Demontis Sabonis. I'm just saying, and I'm pointing out one specific thing. He's had plenty of instances where he's obviously come up short. We know Anthony Davis, but if you want to talk about the problem with the Lakers, it has been Anthony Davis. It has not been LeBron James. I'm just going to be honest with you. Now, he could take less, and they could still suck. Who knows? Like, who knows? Like, Pelinka's made some questionable decisions in his time here. He's also made some good ones. We'd have to see. We'd have to see. But I think they needed to go in on 3 stars with this roster because of just the way it's worked. That's kind of the way I look at it. But I understand the other side. I mean, I understand like questioning LeBron, how important winning a championship is to him. I understand that. I actually do. I'm not saying that's a crazy thing to say. I get it. He may feel like he's accomplished everything he's needed to. He doesn't have anything left to prove. To which I'd say you are right. I do believe that. But you know, this is why when LeBron went to the Lakers in the first place, I said, like, I don't love this. I don't love that you went to a house that Kobe built because of this, because of this slander. You were back in Cleveland, you'd be good. You don't need this. You don't need to be here. These fans, everything you do will never be enough. If he won 2 championships in a row, back to back, we'd talk about him the same way we're talking about him now. We'd have the same conversation today. We'd still be doing it. He would Lakers fans still be like, oh, he ain't Kobe. I don't really care about LeBron. I'm a Kobe fan. And still be all the same nonsense. And you subjected yourself to that. And that's why just to be close to family, I get it for Savannah. That's love. But I didn't like it when it happened. And I really don't like it now because I'm hearing the whispers. And I just want to say, again, that is your best player. He is your best player. It still is. Even at the age he's almost 40 years old. He is your best player on your team. So who's to say more about him or Anthony Davis? That's all I'm saying.
I
And you gave stuff up to get Anthony Davis, by the way, which is why you have no draft picks. Just saying.
I agree that Anthony Davis is the problem. I don't think that
I
can
know what you mean. Yeah.
negate having that conversation of the contract. So maybe I completely, and on this podcast, we've always been consistent in saying that we are fans of players getting their money. We are never team GMs, team owners. We never rock with them. We always want the players to get their money. So if LeBron's not taking less, then somebody needs to have a conversation with AD. We need to restructure your contract, something. The
I see
money
what you're saying.
aspect. That's my concern as a Lakers fan. I'm not saying all that. Oh, Kobe would have did this. I rest in peace. He's where he's at. LeBron,
Yo.
LeBron, LeBron and the
Yo.
Lakers, bruh. My concern as a Lakers fan because I want to see win it again. That's what I would like to see. I like to see a championship again. I'm pretty sure a Knicks fan on this screen would like to see a championship again. I'm pretty sure a Nets fan would like to see,
Again.
Frazier and all them.
They won
They
before. I
yeah,
don't
they
know if
Yeah,
both
but
the
you didn't
Nets.
see it.
I don't know if the Nets can relate.
You didn't see it though. You weren't even a fetus when that jump happened. You weren't even thought of.
Oh
That was
boy.
74.
Maybe
But
the Nets won
regardless
when
to
they
the
were
point,
using peach baskets. Maybe that was when you're referring to.
Yeah, all right.
but regardless of the point, I want to see win it again. And with how the contract is going to be set up, I don't see that happening. We ain't gonna have enough money to make any significant. We could probably get Trey Young, but then after that, they're gonna have to sign me, Greg, Rube, and Jace gonna be coming off the bench. So
I mean, because look, you look at like Tom Brady for like 15 years in New England. Sure, that works. That's different. But like he took a pay cut to bring in more players, bring in better players on defense, on offense to help the team win. And sure, they won. And I mean, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Of course, he's going to make money off the field. And LeBron's the greatest basketball player of all time. He makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year outside of basketball. So for him, like he could take less. Like it's not one of those things where it's not like I want to be respected. I want to get the money that I deserve. Like I'm the best player. Like we get that. We know you're the best player on this team and you deserve the money. But like if you truly want to win, like you're making however much money off the field. Take maybe like 20 million. That's like it feels weird saying like take maybe 20 million because I would take 20 million right now because that's a lot of money. But like for him, that's chump change. So you're telling me you really need that 50 million, like 2 year, like 105, 110 type of deal.
Man, they was talking about 3 years, and at 42, he would get 60.1 million.
It's so dumb. Like,
Yo,
it's great for basketball that they're able to get this much money and they like can negotiate these deals. Like Jaylen Brown, 5 year, $300 million deal. Sure, that's great. But like at some point with this new CBA they've come out with, it's going to be hard to build teams when you're paying so much money to one or two players. Like the way the Knicks have it set up, it's kind of like the blueprint. Like I mean, it's not going to be like that for long, but we're paying Jalen Brunson $25 million a year. We're paying Julius Randle $25 million. We're paying Josh Hart. Like you spread it out a little more, so you have a better avenue toward building a team. Like the Celtics, at some point, they're going to reach a point where Jason Tatum's going to be getting more money than Jaylen Brown, and that's two huge contracts that you got to worry about each year. How are you going to pay Drew Holiday? How are you going to pay Porzingis? Derek White is going to ask for money because he's a really valuable asset to them. So, like, I don't know. I get it from the Brown perspective of why should he take less, but like, why shouldn't he? Like, what makes him too good to like not take less? Like,
So
if you really want to win, this is what you would do. Like, you're at the end of your career. You've proven everything you could to us, to people like Stephen A. Smith, maybe not Skip Bayless. So maybe you should take less so you can prove something to Skip Bayless. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's gotta like think about that. Like, if you really want to win, like AD, sure, he's had his moments. You know, the bubble, he was really good in the bubble. Since then, he's been up and down, injured, and all that stuff. And you know that. You know he's locked in. And you also know if you take that huge contract, you're not going to be able to bring someone of your caliber into, Lakers Nation. Like you're not going to be able to bring in a Donovan Mitchell or bring in a Trey Young to fit those contracts and have a solid bench for when they need a breather. Unless you're expecting Bron to play 48 minutes a game, AD to play 48 minutes a game, Trey Young or whoever else to play that much, you're going to need to spread that out. So we'll see. I mean, it's a conversation that's going to be had, of course, in the off season. I'm sure he's going to put out some more uh, random, obscure quotes in the media to make people think and make people talk on First Take or Get Up. But the true avenue for him at this point should be winning. Like none of this matters. Like none of this, like make an All-Star game. Like he could do that in his sleep. He could take this team to the playoffs in his sleep. But like they're gonna lose in the second round if he doesn't have a good squad around him. So that's the whole point of this whole money thing.
and to your point, when you mentioned some of these other teams, like you said, the Celtics, Derek White is not going to take a haircut on his contract. So, so money is a factor, man. So you got to really think about that. Everybody got to get paid. So definitely want to think. Greg, you want the final words on this before we close out with some games and trivia?
I was just gonna say, I think that if Trae Young came or they made a trade for a big star, probably be willing to take less. But if they didn't get a superstar, I think he wouldn't be because he realizes that they're probably cooked anyways. Crazy as it sounds,
Yeah,
crazy as
I
it
completely
sounds,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
If
think
he
that's
doesn't
his
see a trade
mentality.
happening, LeBron,
He's not taking a pay cut.
You should ask for 70 million a year.
yeah,
I
If
think
they
that's
don't
what he's
bring,
really. Yeah. I think we're being told half the story. That's all I'm saying. I think he probably said, hey, make a trade and then we can talk about me adjusting my pay. But if you guys don't, and we're going to run the same situation back that we're in this year again, y'all better pay me for this because you make it worth my time for being not with y'all here. That's what I think it is. I think that's really the reality of what it is. I think that's fair because this year is pretty painful to watch.
yeah.
Pretty painful to watch with
you
Darvin
saw
Ham
what
coaching and this nonsense.
he said last game. I'm getting too old for this. So yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be
Yeah.
here on these proverbial mediocre teams and we're battling for the play-in and we're battling for the ninth or the 10th spot with the Warriors, I need about 65 a year. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I'm I'm gonna need that.